Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Woman Being Podcast. I am your host today, Kelly Ann, and I am here, of course, with the Emma and the other
Emma.
Kelly.
Wow.
The infamous
Kelly. She gets the Emma and I get the other Kelly. That's rude.
And today, we are going to be talking, and only today, we'll be talking about young love. So grab a beverage, a hot beverage, sit down, maybe some alcohol, maybe both, a hot beverage and alcohol, because we're just going to dive right in. This is Woman Being,
where we explore thoughts and opinions
And have the freedom to change our minds.
without expectation or judgment.
We will hold a safe space and support each other.
As we navigate together in the form of feminine.
Today we're talking about young love. We're going to talk about some heartbreak. We're going to talk about, some tea, and it's going to be a good time. So I just want to start off with the very first question of tell me what kind of guy you used to be into.
Used to be?
Or what you are. Well, yeah, high school. Think high school. First time you were dating. Like I was into skater boy, alternative, emo musician types. That was my thing.
In high school, my type was very specific. It was Christian, worship leader, homeschooled boys whose names started with J.
You don't want.
Wow, specifically Jay.
Yes.
You might want to
I
homeschool
only
boy.
dated boys whose name,
But-
it wasn't on purpose, but this is what happened.
Okay.
Only dated and for 5 years.
Wow.
Boys who fit that bill.
Wow.
Exactly.
You had a
I had a-
specific type.
Yes.
Wow. Kelly?
So,
Well, okay, I'm going to predate, I'm going to say before Ross, because he technically is in my high school era.
yes.
Right.
But I had a couple different crushes on guys that were somewhat different, but I would say definitely an athlete.
Mm.
I typically liked the smarty ones. So if they were in advanced math with me, I probably
Ooh.
had a little crush on them.
little
Maybe in the
nerd
back
boy.
of class.
Like a big brain, if you know what I mean.
Ooh.
And also their names started with J.
Wow.
Actually,
Oh,
now that you bring that
wow.
up, I had a Jake and two Johns.
Mm.
Oh.
So
I had a Josh, a Jacob, a James, a Jake.
Wow.
Oh, and I had a crush on a John.
I had a Josh, but I think it's kind of hard to not have a Josh from
Really?
your high school era. There were so many people named Josh.
There were. I think in the Christian world, especially our generation, every boy's name starts with a J.
there's a lot of J's out there
Yeah.
in general. So.
That's fair. That's
General
fair.
J's.
General.
Makes sense. So tell me about the first time you were in love. Or maybe had just a really big crush.
Okay, I can't wait to tell you guys about my first love.
Oh my God, I can't
His
wait.
name also started with a J. And it was kindergarten.
Oh.
Taking
I-
us back.
Was on the bus. And I was in class with a boy named Jack.
Jack!
And he and I would sit on the bus every day on our way back from school and make out.
Oh,
In kindergarten.
my gosh.
Wow.
Like,
That's
for real. Like,
that's
we were
amazing.
just,
Like with tongue?
No.
oh,
I mean, we were just kissing. And then there was another kid in our class named Ishmael who would watch us kiss and tell us to kiss. And then we'd kiss. And he'd be like, ew.
he would watch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ishmael's a little perv.
And
Yeah,
Ishmael
Ishmael's
was taking care of himself
Yeah.
later that day.
But
Oh.
we were weird kids. I thought that me and Jack were gonna get married. I was
Totally.
pretty convinced. I was
Wow.
I remember sitting down one day with my mom and being like, "Do you think Jack and I will ever get married?" And she was like, "Well."
She's like, not trying to break your heart, kid.
She's
but
like, "Yeah, I suppose if you guys were meant to be together, that you could get married someday."
Yeah. Nice and diplomatic.
Aw.
Yeah. Anyways, and then he left, the school district the next year, and I never saw him again.
Aw, Jack.
I know.
The long lost
Tragedy.
Long lost love.
Wow.
Wow.
Aw.
So yeah, it's kind of cute.
Dang.
That is really cute, actually.
I feel like love,
Okay, big crush.
big crush. I mean, my first crush was a boy named Colton, who his mom was friends with my dad. And so we would hang out a lot when we were in preschool.
Ooh.
And I had a big old crush on him, but I don't know if he ever had a crush on me back. I don't know that we even had the language to communicate whether we had crushes on each other.
Aw.
But there is a very cute photo at my dad's house of us trick-or-treating together, and I'm in a Mulan outfit.
That's so cute.
So, yeah. And then I think he's gay. Actually.
Maybe that's why he
Makes
didn't
me
And he's a
like
wonder-
Jack.
photographer.
I wonder, like, whatever happened to Jack? You
Yeah,
know?
no,
Yeah.
I think I looked him up like a few years ago and I found him and he's gay and he's a photographer.
Wow.
Good on him.
Good on him.
So that was like my first big crush, but I feel like I had a rotating like different crush every year or so, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I loved to be in love as a child. But my first crush / love that I remember was probably around kindergarten age too. Like I was probably like, I don't know, 5, 6, I don't know. And my family had another family that they were friends with, and we just lost touch, I think, over the years. But they had a son whose name was Bray. And I loved Bray.
Bray.
Yeah,
Isn't that
it was
a
a
noise a horse makes?
It was a strange.
Bray.
It was a strange name. His
Maybe a
older
donkey.
sister's name was Ariel, and I thought Ariel was so cool.
Wow.
And we would play and get married like every time we saw each other.
That's so cute.
We played
Wow.
wedding and we got married, and I was gonna marry Bray because he was the best. I remember he had that like blonde, spiky front hair that was so cool
That was
back
so
in the
cool
day.
back then.
Very in sync.
Mhm. Very in sync.
Mm.
So yeah, Bray, if you're out there, hope you're doing well, bud.
That makes me wonder, like, I don't know if I could even track down. I don't remember his last name.
Oh, same. Like, I
Uh,
don't know your last name.
I also had a boyfriend in 3rd grade.
Oh, was this
Wowza.
your first boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
And we were friends 1st through 3rd grade. In 3rd grade, we became boyfriend and girlfriend.
Ooh.
Or maybe-
Mm.
From friends
Maybe it was
to
2nd
lovers.
Ooh.
And his name was Nate.
Mhm.
Nate.
And funnily enough, we were like best friends and we like hung out and like played and we did all sorts of stuff together at school. So it was
Yeah.
like, we had a lot of fun together. I remember we wrote plays together
Aw.
and
Cute.
like wrote stories together and things like that. And when I moved away, I actually went to a show in Minneapolis when I was like an adult and hadn't seen him in years. And he was sitting behind me. And I remember like, and we were like Facebook friends and stuff. So I like kind of knew roughly where he was in his life. He actually joined, I think, the Russian circus.
What?
Yeah.
The Russians?
I think so.
You dodged a bullet.
He was
there.
in the circus.
You dodged a
no,
bullet.
but like really
Like,
cool.
moved
Like he
to
was
Russia?
doing all sorts of acrobatics and stuff. I don't know if maybe it wasn't Russia.
I mean,
I
but
want to say it was the Russian circus. He was
Wow.
in the circus and doing all sorts of like really cool acrobatics and stuff.
right. No one's saying it's not cool.
Yeah.
But like someone whose pastime is like juggling.
Yes.
I'm like,
exactly.
Wow.
Anyway, so I turned around and I was like, "Are you Nate?" And I was like, "Do you remember me?" And he's like, "Yeah." And it was like just the most bizarre, like, "Well, hello."
wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's the story
Dang.
of me and Nate.
Aw.
Cute.
Mate that joined the Russian circus. That's wild. And what was your first boyfriend? Tell us about it.
Oh, I didn't have a boyfriend until I was 17.
Okay.
So I was a late one over there. I'd had lots of little like crushes or like maybe boys I'd talked to, and we liked each other, but was not my boyfriend. You know how that goes?
Mm-hmm.
So my first boyfriend, his name is James. And he was, of course, a homeschooled worship leader whose name started with a J.
Oh, boy.
Those
As
homeschool
they
boys.
are.
There's some odd ones out there.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Most of our dating consisted of sitting on the couch at his parents' house and watching Lord of the Rings or Doctor Who. And
While you, like,
occasionally,
hold hands.
yeah, but secretly held hands
Yeah.
because he was our pastor's son.
Yeah.
And I was in the pastor's house, not allowed to hold his hand.
Did you ever like lean over and like kind of snuggle?
A little bit,
Okay.
yeah. But only if his dad was not around.
That's
Mm.
One time
terrifying.
we got yelled at because I had put my feet in his lap. Like I was sitting like on an end of the couch and just like had laid my legs out and put my feet in his lap. And then our pastor saw.
You got in trouble for that?
Yes, got in trouble.
The audacity of like someone else's father yelling at you for.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean,
sorry.
he was in trouble too, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm just like, that's a weird thing that like some parents felt comfortable with. Like, I can yell to your kid. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but it was interesting. We dated for like 6 months or something, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a wild ride. But
super wild.
That was my first boyfriend.
I had like play boyfriends and things, but like I didn't have like a relationship until I was like 16. And
I didn't even have play boyfriends.
You didn't even have play boyfriends?
No play boyfriends, no playground weddings, no kisses, like none of those things were not on my radar at all.
Yeah, see, I was like just kissing boys all over elementary school, but it doesn't feel real. You know, it feels like
totally.
It's like I was a kid.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. Like we didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, it didn't count.
Yeah.
We were like boyfriend and girlfriend, but like we didn't like see each other outside of school.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. And I knew people who would do that, but that did not seem like an option to me.
Yeah. I mean, I also like had lots of boys that I like talked to or flirted with, and it's like maybe we're dating, like
maybe we're dating.
But my first like boyfriend was when I was 16. His name was Chris, and he was gorgeous. Like he was a beautiful young man. I used to describe him as a teenage version of Thor. And he was cool. Like we hung out and had a good time, and then our time was over.
What happened?
Moving into like breakups, he broke up with me. And I still remember it to this day. He said that he thinks he loves me. He loves me, but he thinks just as a friend. And I was like,
So you got friend zoned.
I got friend zoned. And he was my like first like experience.
Oh, dang.
And so that was pretty crushing. I was very sad.
What did you do?
I was sad for a long time. And not a long time. It felt like a long time because I was a teenager, but it was like probably like 3 weeks. What?
That just doesn't seem long enough.
Really? I was just like so bummed for a little bit. And then he was like all confused. He kept trying to like text me. And I was like, bro, like this isn't like the relationship we have anymore. You don't get to just like chat with me casually.
Oh, so he like really was trying to be your friend.
Like
he's like, I want all the emotional
think he wanted like the emotional connection.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then what happened? Oh, he like got mad at me one time because he like pulled up to the youth group and a bunch of friends and I were like standing around talking, and I just like walked away because I'm like, we're not like, if we're not together, we're not like hanging, you know? Like
Dang.
He was like, why are you being mean to me? I was like, you broke up with me. Like you're the one who said, I don't want to be in a relationship with you. And I said, okay.
Then you lose privileges.
It was weird, but yeah, I had fun while we were together, but I also knew like I wasn't in love with him. I definitely knew I was like, we're not getting married. So it was just like a meh.
Oh.
But have you guys ever been dumped? And have you ever had to dump?
Yeah, I've mostly been the dumper.
I have to dump right now.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Quite the announcement.
Just here on the Women Being Podcast, we keep it real, you know?
Yeah, I've been the dumper mostly. I was dumped for the first time ever, like 2 years ago. And that wasn't even like a real relationship.
Was that really 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh my
2021.
gosh. That was
summer
sad, though.
2021. But yeah, that was the first time that I was like dumped. But before that, I remember with James, my first boyfriend, we were like fighting a lot. And I was convinced at the time that whoever I dated was going to be the man that I would marry one day because, you know, Christian rhetoric had told me that.
Right.
And so I was really holding on to this relationship, even though we were arguing all the time, like very dramatic arguments. And I remember at one point he told me that he thinks the reason that he argues with me so much is because he's in love with me. And I was like, what?
You're weird.
That's manipulative.
Yeah.
And I told him, okay.
Oh my God.
I do think that I eventually did say I loved him out of obligation because I felt bad that he had like said that to me. But I knew that was a lie when I did it. Anyways, I wound up eventually breaking up with him after holding on for a long time. And I remember it was very weird. Like, I came to his house to break up with him, and like we sat in his bedroom on his bed, and he was like so disinterested the entire time. And I like gave him all these reasons because that's what I thought I was supposed to do, like for a breakup.
Yeah, that's the nice thing to do.
Yeah, I was like, there's this, and like plus like I was also like getting ready, like applying for colleges at the time. He was a year younger than me. So I was like, I'm going to go off to college somewhere. Like, this is just not working, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay. And I was like, okay.
So you didn't love me.
Yeah. He was very like, whatever about it. So that was weird. So my next breakup, I kept it real nice and short. I literally told my next boyfriend, whose name was Jake, I said, we're breaking up. And he said, okay. And then I walked away. That was the entire breakup.
Oh my gosh.
You just said, okay. Was he sad?
I don't know. Well, here was the thing. It was very complicated because we were working at a summer camp together. And he had asked to be on like he was asking for space. And so he was like, I just feel like I need some space and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, does that mean we're breaking up? And he said, no, we're not breaking up. I just need some space to like figure some things out. And I was like, okay, I'll give you space, but also we're working at the same camp together currently.
There's not much you can do.
We see each other every single day. But after about a week of this quote unquote space, I come to find out that he's hooking up with another girl on staff. And so
the audacity.
Yeah. And so once I found that out, literally minutes later, I walked over to like his like dorm room thing because we were all like staying on the campus. And I just knocked on his door. He opened it. I told him it was over. He said, okay. I walked away. The end.
That is the most anticlimactic, like, cheating.
I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of getting upset at him.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was like, you don't deserve that. Like, after putting me through all this, after I came to this summer camp to work with you for the summer,
damn.
Like, he was already there, and I got a job there to be with him for the summer, you know?
That's brutal,
So it was like, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction at all.
And so you guys were at the same summer camp, though, the rest of the summer.
Yes, correct. I did stay there.
How far in?
This was within the first 3 weeks of summer camp, and it was like a full summer thing.
Oh my God.
So I had to work with him for another like month and a half, 2 months.
Did him and the girl that he cheated with stay together?
Oh, they were never together. Yeah, period. She became my friend.
Oh my God.
What do you mean by hooking up?
Like sleeping together.
They were sleeping together.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh, at a Christian camp?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Drama.
Yes.
So much drama.
Okay.
So that was that. And he kicked her to the curb later on just to hook up with another girl. So I got to watch him just like hook up with a string of girls.
Oh my God.
While I was at camp working.
I bet he got
for
it.
his parents.
I bet he got something that summer.
An STD?
Yeah. I mean, if he was just like hooking up with girl after girl.
Yeah. I mean, I think there were maybe like 3 girls.
Okay.
Which for Christian.
Yeah. I mean, over the span of like 2 months, that's quite a few girls.
Yeah.
So.
As a high schooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was 19, but yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It was summer after freshman year of college.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Wow. I hope that these people don't listen to this.
I hope they do.
I
Come
love it. All
fight
the
me.
tea.
I'm only exposing his name, no one else's.
That's
yeah,
fair.
yeah. Fair.
So I dated a kind of a dud of a guy. Well, kind of dated a dud of a guy.
Yeah.
Like 15 through 16. Well, we dated for 2 years, I think, kind of.
So when you say a dud of a guy,
Well, so we weren't really allowed to date. I'll start there. Like my parents, we were only allowed to hang out in groups and we weren't allowed to kiss and we pretty much only like held hands and like snuggled.
even though
kind
you
of.
had plenty of experience in kindergarten.
Yes.
Okay.
I was a master
Good.
at that point.
Good.
Um
She had it all out of her system.
I don't know. I guess to my parents it didn't count before like puberty or adolescence, or I don't know.
Once you start your period,
or maybe they didn't
then
know.
you can't kiss.
I don't know. Maybe
They
they
might not
didn't
have
know
known.
that I was kissing
Oh, okay.
boys all over the
Yeah.
place. I don't know. We also entered a more conservative form of faith later in life,
Mm.
and I feel like it has continued on that trend in my family. So dead meaning there wasn't really a lot of relationship there. Like we talked sometimes, we just weren't very close, I guess. It was kind of a weird space. We dated for like a year.
Wow, that's a long time.
That is.
And then we like kind of dated for like a year after that is the crazy thing. It feels like this
What?
person was a part of my life for so long, but like the relationship itself was so not pivotal for me.
Wow.
Just like an underwhelming,
Yes.
passive, in the background relationship.
Yes, it was very strange. And
Huh.
I mean, whatever. Looking back, whatever. But I broke up with him because I was about to celebrate my birthday and I wanted everyone to come over for a pajama party to watch movies. And he was like,
Very fun.
hey, I don't think I want to come to your pajama party. Or not, sorry, I don't think I want to wear pajamas to your pajama party.
Okay.
And so all my friends were like, what the hell? And so they're like teasing him about it because
Yeah.
he should wear pajamas to a pajama party.
You're
like,
not even being fun.
like, don't
Yeah.
be a dud, right?
Yeah.
And then, so he's getting teased. So then he comes up to me and he goes, well, I think I'm just not going to come to your birthday party because all of your friends are going to just tease me for not wearing pajamas. And I was like, well, they should. I'm teasing you for not wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is like after 2 years of like kind of dating.
Yeah.
I'm like, like we
Like,
should
come
like,
to the birthday
we should
party.
like go to each other's parties at this
Yeah.
point in time. And
Like, what the heck?
and so I was like, why are we even dating? And like at this point in time, our relationship had gotten to the point where like he was a worship leader, I was a worship leader. We would show up to youth group, we would lead worship together, not talk, and then not sit by each other, and then he would leave before without saying anything to me. It's like
Weird.
it was like a relationship.
That's very weird.
And my thing, and I'm getting better at this, but I'm a very loyal person. And so
Mhm.
like the thought of breaking up with him was horrible to me.
Yeah.
I felt like I would be letting him down, all of these things. And so
I mean, he should feel let down. You're a catch.
our
Yeah.
relationship
For real.
lasted probably like a year longer than it needed
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, at least. He could have been with a model goddess,
to.
and he didn't put in the work or
He
the
was
effort.
with a model
He-
goddess.
well,
and he
Yeah.
did not
Yeah.
put in the work or the effort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I finally was like, why are we even dating? This is so dumb. Like, you don't seem to care about any of the things I care about. Like,
Yeah.
what is it? What's in it for you? Because nothing's in it for me at this point.
Yeah.
And he's like, fine. And he's like, well, are we broken up now? And I was like, no, I want to break up in person.
What?
And-
Wait, were you texting or were you
yeah,
on
I don't
the
know if we were.
phone?
I've texted or messaging.
I want to break up in
I
person.
was like, no, we have to break up in person. 'Cause
You
I
are
was like,
so
what?
iconic.
And literally, I'm not kidding you. It took him 2 months to like come around to like drive to my house so that I could break up.
But you were
with him.
seeing him at worship practice
No
At
way.
Yes.
and interacting.
Yes, we were interacting.
I see what you mean by dud.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
What is wrong with this boy?
What's
But
wrong with
also
me?
the fact that you waited and
Yeah.
you're like, no, I want to look in your eyes.
Yeah. Freaking looking at the moment get to worship practice early and look at it and go, broken up.
We're done.
I mean, like
We're done.
Wait,
Easy
but
as
how
that.
did
It could have been.
It
How
could
did
have
you
been
say
as
it?
quick as my
I felt
second
like
breakup.
it needed to be a thing.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
so
yeah.
he drove to my house. I went out to his car. I sat in his car and I was like, I'm really sorry. And I felt like I don't want to underplay how badly I felt. Like
Wow.
I felt horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a very loyal person. And he cried.
He cried.
For someone that put in no effort into your relationship,
He was crying. So he cried. I cried because I felt bad. He was crying.
What
We
is
hugged, and then
this?
it was over. And I was like, whew.
Wow.
And at this point in time, Ross and I had been texting as friends.
okay.
And
Ooh.
Ross had said a couple things that were like, what's up with your boyfriend? He sounds
Yeah.
like the worst.
What's up with
Yeah.
your horrible dud of a boyfriend?
Really, Ross was just plotting in the background.
I was just like,
No, and yeah, me and Ross were not involved or interested in each
Yeah.
other at that point. Or at least we weren't admitting it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm sure Ross was interested.
Oh,
Yeah.
how could he not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he told me I was pretty a lot.
Okay.
yeah.
He was like,
Yeah.
but you're too young for me. Anyways.
Yeah.
We're like three years apart. Anyway, so that is why I call him a dud of a boyfriend. Because
Yeah,
definitely a dud.
literally a dud.
That
For
makes so
sure.
much sense.
Literally a dud.
That makes
Yeah.
so much sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I so resonate with what you're saying, though. It is so hard to break up with, or I think it's so hard to break up with someone.
I feel bad quitting a job.
right.
You know, like
Yeah.
I feel bad like telling someone I can't like come to something that they invite me to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like being in a relationship with somebody and then having
Yeah.
to end it, that was
Mhm.
very, very hard for
It's
me.
Yeah.
so hard.
I definitely have a lot of feelings of like, oh, I am a failure
Yes.
if a relationship ends.
Yes.
And that's like, catastrophic.
And there is all that pressure that comes from purity culture of being
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm dating this guy, like I have to marry them
Yes.
and all of those
Mhm.
things. And so
Yeah.
looking back, I'm like, I figure if like all of those other factors hadn't been involved, I maybe would have dated him a few months and been like,
Never
nah,
mind. Yeah.
Nah.
and moved on because I would have had access to
Totally.
other dating relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
because like our relationship was under so many rules and it
Yeah.
was already so limited, like it was sort of like it was this or nothing.
Right. You have
Totally.
no other options.
Yeah. And so I could have done better.
yeah.
Mm.
And then literally a month later,
Yeah.
he
No.
was dating another girl.
Oh my God.
The audacity.
And people were coming up to me, and this was our good little Christian community. So
Right.
Yeah.
they were like concerned about him because he was dating this girl who was bisexual. And
Not a bisexual
Oh my
harlot.
God.
and so like from everyone's perspective in our small town way of thinking, he was like suddenly dating this bad girl.
Yeah.
And I was like
Mm.
the good girl.
Yeah, you were
right?
the good girl that like that got away.
Yeah. And he just like went for like the complete opposite
Yeah.
of me. And yeah, I was
Hmm.
offended.
Wow.
Do you think that he was talking to her before you broke up?
I have no idea.
Just to turn
Honestly,
around so quickly? It's
If
like,
he was,
maybe.
he probably wasn't saying much.
Yeah.
That's true. 'Cause he didn't seem to have much to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ones that have the personality like a slice of bread.
And,
Okay, I should clarify. Like adult, filled with preservatives, white
Wonder bread.
sliced of
And
bread.
you want to know the worst
Like
part?
some Sara
What?
Lee.
He wasn't even that good looking.
Oh.
Like you dated a Thor.
I did.
I dated a wah-wah.
Want want.
I mean,
What's
Yeah.
wrong with me?
his
I mean-
thing was his looks.
It was the
It was
guitar.
the
Yeah.
it was the guitar.
Guitar does
He
a
had
lot.
a guitar. He played piano. He had a car.
You're a Thor guy.
My
then.
Thor
Oh,
guy.
you're Thor guy.
She's
My
like
guy,
not her guy.
He just had a
Oh.
guitar. That was it.
That was all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's all
Gotcha.
it took.
Gotcha.
I was like, oh.
Put a guy behind a microphone with an instrument and
Look
it
out.
takes a 5 up to a 10.
He may be single-handedly the worst singer I've ever heard.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
That's something I will say. I don't know if I should.
Say it.
Well,
Say
just
it.
my first boyfriend, who was a worship leader,
Mhm.
he was not a good singer either. And he was mediocre at best,
Mm.
but it still got me. And he was not very good looking either.
Mm.
And I had talked to his twin brother before this. Did I mention that part already?
No, you
Yeah.
did not mention a twin.
No.
He had a twin
Oh
who
my God.
I had been in a with.
And this is the pastor's
Had a
son.
thing with,
Right,
yes.
okay.
These are
Oh my
both
God.
the pastor's sons. I also had a crush on their older brother before this, but that never
Ooh.
developed into anything.
It's a family
Wow.
Yes, all J's.
All J's. Excellent.
But the twin I had been talking to like a year before I dated the brother, and like, but he wasn't allowed to date yet, and so it was just we would like message all the time on this very fun social media called My Church, which was like MySpace, but
I'm
for Christians.
sorry. Okay, I need to know. If
I have
anyone
never heard of
listening
Do you know
knows
My Church?
if you do, please message us on
wanna know.
Instagram,
Yeah.
on TikTok. It
Well,
doesn't matter.
it was the only social media he was allowed to have, and he didn't have a phone. So the only way for us to talk and like not have his parents supervising it, because he could text me from his mom's phone. We were like 15 at this point. Was through My Church. So we would just message on there late into the night. And then I went on vacation with my family and I didn't see him for a week and I realized that I didn't miss him. And so then I told him, I don't like you anymore. And then a year later, I dated his twin.
Emma is brutal.
Yeah, she's
It's
like-
so good.
She's like, we're broken up.
We're
Goodbye.
done.
I'm like,
You're like crying even though you don't like him.
I couldn't be your girlfriend.
Yeah. I don't think I only have cried when I got dumped. I didn't cry when I was the dumper because I'm prepared, you know? Like, I'm emotionally prepared when I'm the dumper.
But, like, I think I look back and I look at our relationship and I'm like, it makes sense. Who would dump me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I asked
Exactly.
myself the same question.
Yeah. And why would you want to
dump
just
me?
be your friend?
Who would do that?
Idiot.
Yeah.
He'd be a dummy to dump me.
Exactly.
I was just a dummy to let him
Keep stringing you along.
string me along for
Yeah.
that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I resonate with what you're saying, though, Kelly, because I, too, though it was not an official relationship, had to dump someone. And it was very sad and very hard. And he was like the sweetest boy. His name was Cody. He was very into filmmaking. And honestly, I hope he's successful in his film career to this day. I think he got married, actually. So congrats. But we actually met at co-op, which was homeschooler school 1 day a week with other homeschoolers. And I just thought he was like so cute and so sweet. And we started talking on the phone. And we talked on the phone all the time.
Ooh.
And like, la la la. And like, I held his hand because I was like, listen, like, you're cute. I'm cute. Let's be cute together. And then I started, this was like my purity culture, serious indoctrination era. And I was like, I'm just having fun. And then I was like, fun is bad. Must break up. Cannot just have fun. You wouldn't marry him. Why are you talking to him? Which is so silly because, and like, I had never like ended a relationship. So I didn't know how. And so I just like stopped talking to him.
You ghosted him?
Which is so horrible.
Ooh.
I mean, here's the thing. I had anxiety and I didn't know what anxiety was. And so truthfully, I was just spiraling internally. Like, I don't know how to have this conversation and I can't pretend. And so I don't know what to do. So I was literally just trying to figure out what to do, which is so silly because it's like you just tell him.
Yeah.
You just say it.
Yeah.
But he started leaving notes in my bag and be like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did. Please call me. And I was like,
He left little notes because he didn't know what to do.
and here's the thing. I'm a girl, so my bag was filled with trash. Or
Excuse you, that is not a qualifier
I'm
for
like,
a girl.
I am the girl that always has trash in her bag.
There you go.
And so they had accumulated. There was
Yeah.
like, I was like, oh, a receipt or whatever. Like,
You didn't know.
and so like, there were like 3 or 4 notes that I just randomly one day found in my bag. And I was like, oh my God. This poor boy has been trying to talk
How
to
long
me.
did this go on?
He's been leaving little breadcrumbs in my backpack for
Honestly,
me.
I don't know. And he was so sweet. And like, I remember I
Savage.
finally called him. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it. I just have to like, it was like
Yeah.
the next day after I found all these notes. And I was like, I don't know what to do, but I have to do something.
Sure.
And truthfully, it was because I just felt guilty. Like, I probably would have like had a relationship with him and dated him had I not felt guilty for purity culture of like, you know, you're not going to marry him. Like, you're like, he was so precious and so cute. And anyway, so I called him and I think I cried and I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. I just can't keep like talking to you. And like, that's all I knew to say. Then like a year or 2 later, I saw him at senior prom and asked him to dance. And I told him while we were dancing, I'm very sorry for the way I treated you. I truthfully just didn't know what to do or how to handle it. And you were very nice to me.
That's really sweet.
It was,
Cute.
and I meant it. I really, really did. Like, and I was like, I really wish you all the best. And, you know, I wish I could have done better. Or at least that's what I remember saying. I was probably, again, I was like 17. So I was like, but anyway,
Wow.
so that was my breakup story.
Yeah.
And I felt guilty about it for years.
Aw.
Like, so bad because I think I was like, I might have been like his first, like we're talking and this is cute and la la. And I felt like I gave him such a poor experience. So thanks, purity culture. I'm just going to blame it on you.
Ruining
Thanks,
my life and
Josh.
boys'
Joshua
life and everybody's
Harris.
lives.
Thanks, Joshua. Honestly, that was like the time frame I was reading his
Yeah.
books.
Yeah, I had to read Ika's Dating Goodbye before I dated the dud.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you mentioned prom, and I would love to tell a prom story.
Tell a prom
Because I
story.
have the best prom story. Spoiler alert, my husband was there.
Ooh.
Future husband at the time. So Ross and I have been talking for a little while. And at this point in time, he had professed his love to me and been like, I can't imagine my life with anybody except you, which was normal in purity culture.
At like,
Yeah, wow.
how old were you again?
17.
Wow.
16, 17. And I was like, whoa, like I'm interested, but like that's a lot right now.
Yeah.
So like, you know, hold off and ask me later.
Ask me later.
I did.
Try again later.
I remember literally telling him, I'm like, maybe like when I'm graduated, like give me a couple of years. He didn't, but here we are. I was scheduled to go to prom with this boy named Daniel.
Scheduled?
Not scheduled, but I had asked
Okay, got it.
Daniel to go to the prom with me, and he was.
You asked him? How progressive.
He was and is a very good-looking guy.
Daniel.
And this was as friends. Like we weren't interested romantically in each other, but like I thought he was cute. I was cute. I thought we would look really good together, and it would be a fun prom date.
Yeah.
So I asked him, and he said he would go to the prom with me. And then he said, he came up to me and he's like, Kelly, I can't go to the prom with you because I already promised this girl, Amanda, that I would go to the prom with her.
Amanda.
And so
So he said yes to you after having already said yes to a different girl.
Apparently.
What the hell,
I don't know.
dude?
Maybe he had promised her like a long time ago.
And she was like,
forgot,
you're going
didn't
with
think it was
Kelly?
serious. Yeah.
You're supposed to go with me.
So she was like, no, you said you'd come with me, which is fair, you know? And so I was like, and I wasn't heartbroken or anything, but I was like, well, shoot, now I don't have a prom date. I guess I'll just go with friends.
Yeah.
And I'm telling Ross all this. And he's like, well, you know, I would come up if you needed a prom date.
Cute.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'll find someone. I'll figure it out. And
then you promptly didn't find anyone.
And then I promptly did not find anyone. And so Ross came to my prom, and Daniel ended up not even going with Amanda. He went with my good friend at the time, one of my best friends at the time instead.
So Daniel's a liar.
Daniel gets around.
So I don't know how all that happened, but it was like, okay, whatever. But I, at this point, was too smitten with Ross to care.
Aww.
So he came to my prom and bought me a corsage, and like we did all the things, and we danced at prom. Like he had learned swing dancing in college and stuff, and so we like went in the back, and he was like teaching me swing dancing, and we were like dancing.
Cute.
And we were so cute.
Aww.
And I was like flushed all night.
Yeah.
Like
you're like, this is the best.
like I look back on that and I was like, I was so head over heels at that point in time. And I remember we were driving home from prom and I was like, Ross, I love you. And he said,
You said you loved him?
Yeah, and he said he loved me. And the rest is history.
Oh my gosh.
So I had an amazing prom.
I am aghast.
You sure did.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then we got engaged like several months later, and then we got married.
There you go.
Aw.
It's going to be 10 years in June.
A whirlwind love story.
Congrats, you guys.
Yeah, I had a great prom.
Such a good
Cute.
prom. So all this talk of breakups and proms, I have to know, did you ever ask someone out and it go wrong? Or did someone ever ask you out and you have to say, no, thank you?
Not really, but I do have an incident that occurred in elementary school in which I did profess my love to a boy and got rejected. So I'm not the type to typically like be as forward when it comes to boys. I'm not the type who would ask a boy out. I have too much fear. But I had this huge crush on this boy in elementary school. He was in the grade above me, but we were like in a classroom where the grades were combined. And his name is Lane. He had the most beautiful green eyes. And I told my friend about how I had this huge crush on Lane. Lane, who I was not friends with, did not have any sort of like relationship with, except that we were classmates.
Oh, I remember those.
And but I had such a crush on him. I thought he was so cute. And my friend was like, you should leave him a letter. Like, leave him a secret admirer letter. And we literally discussed like, oh, we can like write it in like different handwriting so no one knows that it's you, and like write the letter. And my friend was like, I'll bring a chocolate bar to school tomorrow so you can like leave it on his mat, because we like would work on mats.
Right.
Leave it on his mat, and he'll like know that you're in love with him. You'll like see that you're in love with him. And so I wrote this letter. I'm pretty sure I used some language along the lines of, my love for you burns like the heat of 1,000 suns.
Can you have that like tattooed on you, please? Because
No.
that'd be good.
No.
That'd be great.
But I did say that. And my friend freaking showed up and she was like, hey, like, I'm sorry, we didn't have any chocolate bars at home, but I did have this Swiss cake roll. And she brings out a smushed Swiss cake roll for me to give to the love of my life in 2nd grade.
Wow, what a friend.
And so then one time when he like got up to go to the bathroom, he left his mat unattended. She and I snuck over there and left the note with the smushed Swiss cake roll on his mat.
I'm so dead right now.
But we were in sort of a rush, so I didn't get the chance to
Right.
forge my handwriting. So then from across the room, we're like watching this go down, and he finds it, and a look of horror crosses his face. And this is anonymous. This is an anonymous note.
Right, your name was not
No.
on it.
And he takes it to our teacher as if he was given a ransom note or something. And he's like, I don't know what happened. Like, somebody left this on my mat. And I don't know if he was like scared or what, but he did not receive it well. And so then our teacher was like mad about this.
Mad?
And she went through all of our school journals and matched up the handwriting on the letter to my handwriting.
She was up. That's so. What?
What a horrible teacher.
That is not the correct
I
response to
got in trouble and sent to the guidance counselor for harassing a student.
What did you write in that letter, Emma?
That her love
My
burns
love
burns.
Yes. I remember being so confused.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
why am I in
I
trouble?
did something nice.
I guess that this was bad.
Oh no!
Or like maybe they thought I was like bullying him
Oh
because
my
I was kind of
gosh.
a bully to other kids. So like, I don't know, but I got in trouble for it and very rejected.
You gave him a smushed cake roll.
And maybe that's why I don't ask anybody out.
Maybe.
I mean, that makes sense.
Oh my
I'm traumatized.
God.
That's really traumatizing.
Dang.
Yeah.
I have a somewhat similar story. I had a crush on a boy in like 1st grade
Yeah.
named Colton.
Another
Colton.
Colton.
I want to say it was Colton.
Yeah.
And I wrote him a little note that was like, I have a crush on you. Would you like to be my girlfriend? Check
Yeah.
the box for yes. Check the other box
Ooh.
for no. And put it in his little cubby.
Yeah.
And he did the exact same thing where and I remember
He took
watching,
it to the teacher.
he like looked at it and was like,
Disgusted.
he's like, what is this?
Yeah.
Gave it to the teacher. I remember the teacher was just like walking around at this
Yeah.
point in time, and the teacher just took it, read it, tucked it away, never talked about it again.
That's
Oh my
a better
gosh,
response.
That's a good teacher.
My freaking teacher ratted me out.
Yeah.
Your teacher was like, you need to go to the guidance.
Yeah. There's something wrong with you.
For
so
liking a
sorry.
I
boy.
know.
Dang.
Maybe I did say some creepy things.
Maybe
I don't
you were
know.
like-
Maybe I was the creepy one. And he was legitimately scared.
You and your friend are in the
I
back
don't
of the
know.
class just like me.
Maybe I just didn't realize I was being creepy. I don't know.
Maybe you were like, I've been watching you
Yeah.
every day at school.
Yes.
I've been watching you for
And
1,000 days.
I've
Yeah.
noticed the way that you blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I could get lost in those green eyes. I just want to pluck one out and keep it by my bedside. So that was the time that I was rejected from putting myself out there and never again.
Never
That's
again.
understandable.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very understandable.
You know, I wish you would write me a note like that.
yeah.
Maybe I will.
What
Maybe
the
you'll
heck?
find one with a little treat.
What the heck, Emma?
Wink, wink.
Squish, swish rolls
It's like
only.
day old.
Smushed Swiss cake rolls.
That was hard to say.
Shmish, shish, shash,
Swish,
shash.
swish, swish, swish.
Smushed Swiss cake rolls.
Say that 10 times fast.
I won't.
I unfortunately was not brave enough to ask anyone out.
Mhm.
That was very scary to me. But there was one time, the time actually of my senior prom,
Ooh.
that I caught wind that a boy had written a song to ask me out to the prom and was
Oh.
planning on singing said song very publicly. And you have to understand, I was an anxious person. And so the idea of anyone singing to me in public, I would rather die.
Oh, that
Like,
would have been like my dream come true.
That would have been like the most humiliating thing in the world.
Oh, man.
Because I was anxious and I basically grasped my mother and I was like, Mother, you must stop this from happening. Like,
Wow.
go talk to this person's mom and put a stop to it. You must do this for me. And my mom was like busy, was like, whatever, Kelly, whatever. And I was like, Mom, like to me, this was like life or death. I was like,
you don't understand.
You must stop this. And she's like, why? It's sweet. I'm like, I don't fucking care what you think.
You did not say that.
No, but I did say, I don't care what you think.
Oh.
For me, it's so terrifying. You must stop this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I ended up going to this person and saying, and this was true. I was like, I actually, like, I appreciate what you're trying to do. I don't want to go to the prom with anyone.
Wow.
I just want to go with my friends and have fun. And that's true. I actually ended up like sharing a younger date with a friend just for fun. He was like 16 and we were like two smoking hot, like 17-year-olds. And we were like, do you want to like come to the prom? His name was Dante. He was great. Still a good time. Probably. I don't know. He's probably a sweet kid. And that was true. I just wanted to hang out and like have fun and like not feel tied down to anyone. That's what I did. And I gave him a dance. But that was like the idea.
Gave guitar, like singing a song to you, boy, a dance?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, I'll dance with you.
Yeah.
I gave him a slow dance.
Oh.
And the end.
The end.
Yeah. So yeah, I got very easily embarrassed. Like I didn't want anything public.
Was he
ever.
not like your type? Were you not interested in him at all? Was that a part of it?
I was also not interested in him, but also I think I would have been humiliated with anyone singing to me publicly like that.
And you were genuinely like, I'm not looking for a date.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't really go with anyone. And I danced with like 10 boys. It was so fun.
Ooh, scandalous.
Which was my goal. I was like, I just want to have fun and dance with a bunch of boys. I don't want to feel like I have to dance with you all night.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And
my
so,
prom date and my friend's prom date, we switched prom dates partway through prom.
That is so funny.
Because we were at prom with the opposite people that we wanted to be at prom with. So
how did that conversation happen?
Well, it's because I was at a prom that wasn't my school's prom. And the boy that I liked and that liked me, who plot twist, spoiler alert, was the same one that later cheated on me. He didn't go to that school either, but we had two close friends that went to that school. And in order for us to both get into prom, we both wound up. I got asked by one of our close friends who went to the school. He asked my close friend who went to that school. But it was a whole loved square that happened.
It seems like.
But that wasn't dramatic because we just like wouldn't admit that we liked the opposite people. And then we wound up like getting together eventually.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an experience.
Yeah. But it was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed prom a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever asked anyone out other than asking my friend Daniel to come to the prom with me. In my mind, that was a man's job. And if he doesn't pursue you, then he's not.
Yes,
gonna
because
be the
that is a
kind of
man's
man
right
that you want
to hunt a woman down.
You don't want to marry
him. If he can't
him.
take initiative and leadership when he asks you out, how the heck is he going to be a leader in your marriage? You know?
Exactly.
So
that's what I want to know.
However, I did have to say no to a couple suitors. One in particular was a friend of mine, a mutual friend, in the friend group. And he went to basic training the summer of his junior year and asked all of his friends to write letters to him.
Okay.
And all of us were like, yeah.
Of course.
And
be a good friend.
me, dummy that I am, wrote letters to him thinking all of us are writing letters to him.
Yeah.
But no, it was just me. Yeah. Friends don't write letters to each other, let's be honest.
I have.
I do.
Well,
Yeah.
evidently no one else did, but I wrote him like a couple letters and I was just like,
Oh,
blah, blah,
so
blah.
like a couple, not like
2 letters
Oh my god,
total
that's
over the
like
course
so
of
chill.
the whole summer.
That's so chill.
And I was like, this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he came back from basic training and he like always kind of obviously was interested in me, but like I just never gave him the opportunity to like say so.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, me and a bunch of friends are going to see Twilight. And I was like, cool. I think this was number 4.
Me and a bunch of
It was the
friends.
one with a lot of sex.
Great.
Oh, good.
The one after they got married, you know?
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I haven't seen it yet. And so I'm like, me and the boys, we're going to go see Twilight. And so he picks me up after school and takes me to the theater. And he's like, yeah, no one else could come.
He is so smart.
Yeah.
What a genius.
And so now I'm accidentally on this date with this guy. And I'm like, ooh, I know he's like interested in me,
Yeah.
but like I'm not interested in him. So we watched the movie. He bought my ticket and my popcorn, took me out to Denny's afterwards, very classy.
Oh.
Wow.
Insisted that he buy my dinner. And then like, I think I had a musical performance that night or something. So he took me there and then bought me flowers and chocolates.
Wow. How did you feel about that? Because I was the girl that was like, I'll let you buy me whatever you want.
I kind of was like that. I was sort of like, yeah, like you can buy me stuff. I didn't think of it as like leading him on.
Sure.
And I don't think I was. But then like, I don't know, a little while later, I don't remember how long it was, he picked me up one day and asked if he could talk. And so like he got in his car and we're like driving around and he's like, felt very trapped. He's like, so I was at basic training and like it was so exhausting. And I remember lying down one time and I saw an angel. And at this point in time, I'm thinking like, wow, he's having this spiritual experience, which for me was like,
that's amazing.
rock solid. Like he's not like super Christian, but like, look, he's like, he's like meeting Jesus, you know? I'm like, good deal. And he goes, and that angel was you.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you think it was that he was masturbating?
Ooh.
I mean, I think a scale of 10 that he was masturbating. Masturbating to me, I don't know.
High possibility.
Probably high.
Yes.
Never thought about that until right now.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Only here on the Woman Being podcast.
And he was basically like, I can't imagine my life with anyone else. Like, it was kind of
my
like,
God. I said that to you.
Like,
My heart is racing for you.
and I'm like in this car and I'm like, okay, I'm not really interested in a relationship right now, but you're a really good friend. Like I friend zoned him.
Yeah.
And then he like finally dropped me off. And I was like,
where was this in the timeline with Ross and with the dead boy?
This was post breakup dead boy,
Pre-Ross. It was like a little wedge right in
Well, Ross
between.
is like my friend at this point in time.
Yes.
Right,
He's
right,
like
you
a guy
know
that I
Ross
text,
and yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And
Got it.
I was like, oh no.
Wow.
So that's how I accidentally got roped into a date and had to. I kind of feel bad that I wasn't more clear with him about like, no, this is never going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was like very clear that he wanted a wife like his mom. Like he wanted to be like the gruff, you know, spiritually stunted, you know, man. And I was going to be like the good person that like reminds him of the good in life.
Yeah.
Like that was the fantasy that he had
Ew.
No, thank
for
you.
me. And I was
That's
like,
nice of you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No.
So
Gross.
didn't work out. He actually went to prom with my friend and kind of ditched her during prom.
Gross.
Rude. Okay, so we're getting kind of to the end. There's lots of things we've covered today, lots of great tea. I hope you're enjoying, listener. But I think this episode would not be complete if we touched on any cringy stories that you might have. Mine, growing up, not when I was younger, when I was older, like probably around 16, there were multiple boys, at least 4 boys that I can think of right now off the top of my head, that felt God told them that I was going to be their wife. And I said, no, thank you. That is not happening today. See, this is the thing in my family. If you tell us we're going to do something, we're like, other way. Don't try to control me. And so that to me is like a cringy thing of like, God told me you're going to be your wife or you're going to be my wife. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah. I did have like multiple.
4?
That is a lot.
I was like the pinnacle of like spiritual hot girl in my
It's like
circle.
a breed, you know, like spiritual hot girls.
Spiritual hot girl.
Uh-huh.
But I was like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But I also just didn't, I don't know. I just realized now, like, I didn't like being asked out. Like, I felt very put on the spot. And, like, I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what to say.
Sure.
I'm like, I don't know. Do I like you? I don't think I like you. Do I want to spend time with you? Not really.
Not really.
I just, like, I would panic. Again, I had anxiety.
Yeah.
And so I never felt prepared to, like, answer anyone. But when you throw out something like, God told me that you're going to be my wife someday, I'm like, bye.
Yeah.
Not me.
Dang.
I know.
Yeah. I had, in a similar vein, there were multiple boys who, like, went to my church but like were peripherally involved in church and who like would like text me or Facebook message me and like tell me they liked me or they thought I was so beautiful. And I would just keep being like, yeah, no, I don't. I'd be like, oh, I don't feel that way about you, but like we're friends. And like I would just keep, and I would let them like keep talking to me and I would still talk to them. So I think that they would keep thinking like maybe there's a chance something will happen. But I'd be like, you like never even talk to me in person. And we just like text or message and I just don't even really know you and I'm not into you. And so there's definitely some of that happened. But I'm not sure that anyone said, God told me that we will be together.
Spoiler alert. I'm not with any of those boys. Well, men now.
I will say, if you want to get into something traumatic.
Yes.
My, one of my high school boyfriends, the same one that cheated on me, he told me one day that I must bear children for him. I'm 17. He said, you must, like, when we get married one day, like, I am going to need you to bear children for me.
He said bear children?
Yeah, like, I need to get impregnated. And I had told him, I want to adopt children if I have any children one day. Like, I had been very clear about that. I have thought that ever since I was in freaking first grade. I'm like, I'm going to adopt children if I have any.
Yep.
And he was like, not an option. We'll have to break up. if you won't bear these children for me. And so it was this whole dramatic thing where we both went to God. We both prayed on it and thought about it. I did a lot of journaling, a lot of crying. And then we met up at a Starbucks to determine the fate of our relationship.
Yes.
And I had decided, because going back to I am a failure if I break up with somebody, I was like, I will bear your children. I literally was like, okay.
If that is my lot in life.
That is what I have to do.
I shall bear your children.
I will bear children. Looking back, I should have just ended the relationship there.
Been like, nah, bro.
Yeah, you crazy, my bro.
Yeah. And we kept dating for another like 9 months after that.
Is that like based on some weird, like, I must pass along my legacy?
Yes. He was like, he wasn't opposed to adoption. He was opposed to not having any bloodline being passed on. So he was very, which I've known a lot of men who are like that, where it's like, I have to have my seed, my legacy go off into the world with my genetics, which I don't comprehend. I just do not connect with that in any way.
Here's a hack. Be a sperm donor.
Yeah. Get your legacy all over the place that way. So, yeah, that was very cringy looking back on it. I'm like,
that is wild.
No.
Ooh, that's so bad.
That's wild.
I think the cringiest thing that I look back and cringe on like the crushes I had on guys that I had barely any relationship with. You know, like across the room, like the classmate who I don't really know.
Yeah.
Like I had a crush on this guy in middle school and high school. Like I crushed on him for a long time.
Wow.
And like we like were friendly. You know, we talked. But we were not friends.
Yeah.
We didn't know each other. And I had the hugest crush on him. And I just look back and I'm like, I talked about him so much.
Yeah.
And like giggled about him
and, like,
with my
thought
friends.
about him.
And I'm like, that's just so...
Yeah.
That's just weird.
Yeah.
You know?
I did that a lot.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh, the popular boy.
Yeah.
That was me. I would be like, I remember there was a boy who was like the popular boy at a different elementary school, but I saw him at a roller skating night that elementary school was having because I had friends at that school. And I saw him from across the rink and I was like, oh, that's the boy. His name's Dylan. And we wound up going to the same middle school. And so then in middle school, I was always like, gawking at him.
Dylan.
And I was so into him. Like, I don't think I've ever had a conversation with this boy. To this day, I've never had a conversation with him. But I was just like, Dylan, swooning. I don't even know him.
Yeah.
It's wild how we do that.
It is funny. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily about like the emotional connection or the
No.
relationship. It's just like, oh my gosh, like I'm painting this picture of
Yes,
who
You
you
have
are.
a fantasy of who this person is.
Yeah.
Speaking of, wait, I just remembered. A memory flashed back to me, which is that I also used to have like imaginary boyfriends, but that were boys that I actually knew. And so I would like walk around my house. Wow, this is very exposing.
Wow.
I would walk around my house like pretending that my boyfriend was there.
Oh.
And like it was elaborate. Like
Oh,
I
man.
really like it was a whole thing. And I was very like I don't know what is wrong with me.
I think that's
But-
normal actually.
know
Yeah,
we
I
all
just
look
had
back
like
and wonder-
imaginary boyfriends.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
like I
huh.
wouldn't tell anyone like,
Yeah.
oh, this is my boyfriend. Here he is. And everyone looks and there's no one
Me,
there.
Like, yeah, when you're like
Yeah.
imagining.
No,
yeah.
but I would imagine boys that went to my school and stuff
Uh-huh.
as my boyfriend. And it felt very real. But I had a very active imagination.
Yeah.
I remember, okay, so I had a class with this guy and he was in front of me and I put my feet up on the, I don't know, like little book holder thing underneath the desk
Yeah.
of his.
Yeah. The little
And I
basket.
yeah, the little basket. And he put his feet in the basket one time and like we like touched feet for like
Scandal.
Wow.
for like the whole class. And I remember I was like over the moon.
We touched feet. Do you think he even realized that it was your feet?
Well, it was like that weird space where I was like, maybe it's our secret, you know.
Our secret affair
Yeah.
going on under the desk with
So-
our feet.
Wow.
So dumb.
I wonder if any of your classmates like looked over and saw and they were like, what's going on over there? Like, why does Kelly look so happy? And their feet are just touching in the basket.
Oh my god. That's so funny.
That to me, I
hilarious.
look back and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
so cringy.
That
It
wasn't
is.
it.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Damn. Well, this was a good one, guys. Like
Yeah.
Young love.
young,
Young
love.
All the dysfunction.
So much dysfunction. So many
Here's-
weird messages that we
Yep.
received.
Here's what I'll say. You're learning.
Yes.
Young love, you are learning. You are growing as a human.
Yeah.
You're going to mess up. It's fine. Mess up now. Don't
Totally.
mess up later. Well, you can mess up later. Just make different mistakes.
Don't mess up, people.
Never mess up again.
Just make different mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, any advice you would give to young love, people in young love, people like navigating young love?
Mm.
I think just that it's just not that serious. And you also don't have to like anyone. Like, I got a lot of pressure from friends where it's like, you have to pick someone to like right now because you don't have like anyone. Or where I just felt like there always had to be someone I was pining after.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I like realized as I got older, I didn't actually have to.
Yeah.
But it took a long time for me to learn that I didn't have to like anyone. And that it's not that serious. It's not that high stakes.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That would be relax. You're going to
Yeah.
be okay. Like, have fun. Like,
Totally.
don't put so much pressure on yourself, especially if you're in high school. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, just enjoy
Yeah.
safely.
I would say have fun. Like dating is for fun.
yeah.
Date guys that are in your life and you enjoy being with them
Or girls.
or girls.
Yeah.
Date whoever you like.
Yeah. It's okay to try whatever you're interested in. When it like, you don't know what kind of person you like at this point in time. Like, you don't know what your preferences are or anything. Like, this is the time to just figure things out. And it's low stakes.
Mhm.
Like, you might get hurt. Other people might feel hurt. Emotions are running high. But, like, at the end of the day, you're going to look back on it. And I think that you might cringe or you might think it's silly, but it was part of what cultivates who you are now.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. But then, years down the line, you'll talk about it on a podcast with your two
Yeah.
besties in your late 20s.
there you go.
So
My general rule, though, overall, would be as a general rule, don't get married at 18.
Says the girl who got married at 18.
that's good advice.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying, in
it
general,
is good advice.
it's probably not a good idea.
In
Yeah.
general, don't do that.
Don't do it.
So,
Well, with all that, we're just going to land this plane. Thanks
Yeah.
for being here with us today, woman
yeah.
beings.
Share your stories.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Please
Yeah.
message us on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram if you're
Yes.
not. You're obviously listening to this podcast, so you know that we're on Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and
Apple.
Apple, and Amazon, and all those other places. Make sure you give us some reviews while
Heck yeah.
you're listening. And also follow us on TikTok because we post all kinds of fun things over there, and we do lives like once a week. So come check us out. We have fun. And with all that, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.